In this session, we will learn what structural authorization profiles are and explain the meaning of the fields in a structure profile. The employees in managerial position in an organization require structural authorization profiles to enable them to access selected HR data of the employees in their span of control. Now, the span of control for a manager would include the employees reporting to that manager. So the set of org structure objects, which are positions, jobs, or persons, written by the combination of the starting object in the org structure and the evaluation path represents a user's structural profile. Now, typically a manager would need structural authorization profiles to enable them to access to their span of control. So if a manager needs to access only his employees within the org, employees who are reporting to him or her, in such a situation, you need to use structural authorizations and structure profiles. A definition of a structural profile will consist of many fields. For example, you have the plan version, you have the object type, object ID, whether you're allowed to maintain, or evaluation path, status vector, depth level, sign, and let's say function module. We'll see each one of them one by one now. Plan version. You use the plan version field to determine the plan version to which the defined profile applies. So if you use a system that integrates the personnel administration and the org structure components, the plan version 01 is generally the integrated plan version that is used. I mean, you could use stars too if you want to give access to all plan versions. The object type column or the object type field, in that you can specify only object types that have an 8 character ID. Now, you have to remember that in general, structural authorization checks are not carried on external objects such as cost center, which have a different key or code. Cost centers are not generally 8 character IDs. So in the object type field, you can only specify 8 character IDs, meaning you can specify an org unit with representing with O, or you can specify a position by specifying S, because all of position, jobs, org units, these are some of the components in org structure which have an 8 character ID. So you could use 8 character only those such objects for object type field. Now in the object ID field, you enter the number, that 8 character number of the start object if you are using the evaluation path. So in your structure profile, if you end up using the evaluation path, you have to specify this object ID. So you have this, let's say the object O, starting object is the org unit, that is O. So you have to specify the starting org unit ID here under the object ID field. Now that is applicable if you are using an evaluation path. Now you can use the processing mode, that is the maintenance field, to control whether a read authorization or authorizations for the relevant set of objects which will be captured by this organization evaluation path should be assigned. Now this field corresponds to the maintenance field in the table T77FC. So all the function codes that have a check mark in this field can be processed. Now by entering the evaluation path, you determine that the user is only authorized to access objects along in this evaluation path. So if they say OSP is O is for object, S is for position, P is for person. So using this evaluation path, for example, from this node with this starting object, the user can evaluate or is authorized to access org units, positions and persons under this org unit. So by specifying the evaluation path, you can determine that the user is only authorized to access objects along this evaluation path that you have specified here. You must also assign a root object. Because we are using evaluation path, we must also assign a root object for the structure when you use an evaluation path. So you have the root object and the object ID. Now this root object can either be entered directly. In this example, if you see in the object ID is entered directly here, it's 100. Or in the object ID field, or determined dynamically by using a function module. In our demos, we will see both. We will enter an object ID and we will also enter a function module for a manager and see if both these options return the same access. Now we'll see what a status vector is in the next slide and depth in the following slide. The sign field, you only use the sign field if you want to create structure profiles that process the structure bottom up. The status vector, this field, the status vector, simply refers to the status of the relationships between the objects. So you use the status vector to determine which relationships are considered when the structure is created. So for example, if you define in this field, if you specify 1, 2, all the relationships that are active, that have the status as active or planned, are evaluated. So if you look at this example, here it's specified 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the evaluation is done for active relationships, planned relationships, submitted relationships, approved and rejected relationships. So the choice of the status vector has no real effect on the status of the objects. So it's only a status of relationships. So it doesn't have real effect on the status of the objects. Now the display depth field, you could use if you to specify the level of nodes or which should be displayed for the employee, for the manager. So if you say level, if you specify in the depth field, if you specify 2, the structure will be evaluated for 2 levels. So this level and this level. So the system will only return, if this is the starting object, O1, it will return position 1, org4 and org5. So in the depth field, If you specify 3, it will specify, system will return O1, S1, O4, O5, P1, S2, S3. So the structural authorization, say for here it says, structural authorization of display 2, depth 2 only includes objects up to level 2. So level 4 would return everything that you see on the screen in this example. Now, you should use this depth level. One of the reasons why you could use the depth level would be when if there is any performance related issues for structural authorizations. So using the depth level, you can minimize the level or the nodes that can be evaluated for each manager. So if you enter 0 as the value in the display depth field, the depth level field, the corresponding tree is completely built, and that there is no limit to the depth of the tree. So which means the entire structure will be evaluated, so which could end up in having performance related problems. So to avoid performance problems, you could decide to use the depth level value in the structural profile. So the depth level, remember, will only return the levels or of the objects which you have specified. Another field that you have in the structural profile is the period. Now you define in the period field, you define how the responsibility of the structural authorization is checked. So for example, you can say whether the user has to be authorized for exactly to a particular key date or only for the year in which he or she accesses the data. So you can use this parameter, the period field. Let's see where that is. The period field to define how you can use this field, the period field, to define the profile according to the validity period of the structure. Now this parameter, the period parameter, has no influence on the period for which a user is authorized to access the given object. So we have specified, let's say, the org object as O. So the whatever value you give for the period field, it has no influence on that object. So in other words, unlike the general authorization check, the structural authorization checks does not retain periods of responsibility. Instead, the system indicates whether or not the user has authorization for a specific object. Now in that period field, you can specify the values D, M, Y, P, and F. So if you specify D, for example, the structural authorization is extended to include only the structures valid on the current date. The current date is your system date. Now if you define a structural authorization like this for a manager, the manager is authorized to access data on all persons who are currently in his or her group. And if you don't make any entries, make an entry in that period field, there is no restriction by validity period of the structure. So in which case, the manager is authorized to access data on former or future employees in addition to the authorization of the current employees. So if you leave it blank, so the manager would have access to people who are no longer reporting to him or her, or new hires who are going to come and join his team, and also to people who are already reporting to him or her. If you, that is, if you leave that period field blank. I mean, you don't make any entry in that field. So, for example, let's say if this is the system date, 02/06/2002. Let's say this is the system date, and in the period field you enter D. Then the user is only authorized to access P2. P2 is the validity for person 2 is from 1999, 01/01/1999 to 12/31/99. 9,999. Why P2 and why not P1? Because this date 02/06/2002 does not fall under P1, because P1 is valid only till 2000, 12/31/2000, and whereas P2, this date range 02/06/2002 falls under this range. So since the user is in this case has only has authorization for the objects in the structure valid for this date, and the relationship is between S1 and P1 ends before this date, the user is not granted access to P1. He is only granted access to P2. Now, if you leave the period field blank, which means the user has access to all the past employees and the future employees and the current employees. So if you leave it blank, this date range falls in the past. So the user has access to P1 also. And this date range falls for current. So user has also access to the current employees. So, but you have to remember that, this field, the values that you specify in the period field, they have no influence on the period for which your user is authorized to access access to a given object. The function modules. Now you define a function module. When you define a function structure authorization, you can specify a function module which dynamically determines a root object during the runtime. So the objects can be determined either by specifying the starting object manually, specifically in the structure profile, or you can use a function module to dynamically determine a root object during runtime. So instead of maintaining a starting object ID specifically, you can use a function module. So in the area in which you have specified, let's go back to that function module slide. So that in the area in which you have specified the organization assignment to be determined dynamically, you do not make an entry in the object ID field. So you don't, even if you decide to use the function module, you don't make an entry here. You just leave it blank. But you have to ensure that the plan version and the object type are entered. So these are the mandatory ones. Whenever you use, either you use a starting object ID specifically or function module. So what is the advantage of using the function module when compared to the object ID? Now the advantage of using a function module is that a user-specific profile is created by the dynamic definition of the root object at runtime. So depending on who is accessing, the function module is going to ensure the objects or determine the starting root object dynamically at runtime. So if a manager changes department, for example, the corresponding profile does not need to be changed. So if a manager changes position, you don't need to change the profile. The system, using the help of function module, the system will pick up his starting node. Now, so what is more is that the number of structural authorization can be significantly reduced by the function module. So this system does not have to traverse the entire org structure to start from the starting the user's starting node, starting object. So SAP provides two function modules, main function modules. One is RH get org assignment, and the other is RH get manager assignment. Now this function module, RH get manager assignment, determines the root object of the organizational unit to which the user is assigned by the A012 relationship. Now A012 relationship is managers. So if a manager is defined as a chief in the organization, in the org structure, he would be having this relationship defined for him or her. So this function module, that is RH get manager assignment, works on the basis of a key date and can determine only the organization units assigned to the user as a manager on the key date or within the specified period. So in our demos, when we look for the structural authorizations, we'll be using this function module in one of the demos. Now RH get org assignment. This function module determines the organizational unit assigned to the user organizationally as a root object. So instead of using the object ID, you use the, let's say, RH get manager assignment. So if, let's say, we use the function module RH get manager assignment, so what that function module would do is, it will determine once the manager logs in, so the system is going to determine the personal number of the logged on user via the info type 105 and subtype 001. And then the system will read the position held by that particular person. Then it determines the organizational unit to which the position is linked as a manager. And this organizational unit, which is linked to the position of the user, this organizational unit is then reported to the structural profile. Now, with the identified object ID, the system continues with the stored evaluation path in the structural profile. So, for example, it would be OSP, and which determines the organization units, the positions, and the persons that are linked with the root organization unit that has been determined by the function module for the particular user. So instead of using the starting org unit directly, we could use a function module, RH get manager assignment or RH get org assignment, to dynamically capture the start org unit to the start object ID of the user to whom the structure profile has been assigned. Let's see some examples of structural authorization profiles now. Now, for example, in the example 1 here, due to user's authorization profile, he or she is authorized to access organization units in plan version 01. So if you see here, we have not specified anything else. So whoever is assigned this profile, structure profile, SP1, that particular user is authorized to access all org units with plan version 01. Now in example 2, we have specified, let's say, our plan version as well as the object type. And here also with the same, similar to SP1, this structure profile SP2 will allow the user or authorize the user to access all organization units in plan version 01. Now, let's take example 3 here. Now, due to the user's authorization profile, the user is authorized to access all units in plan version 01 from a root object 100. So, whatever root object you have entered in the object ID field, that becomes your root object. Along the org structure evaluation org this evaluation path, org EH evaluation path. Now, in example 4, if you see, the user has access to organization units starting with 200 along this evaluation path for current day. So whichever org units or objects are valid as of today, the current date, the user has access to all those org units which fall under the org object 200. So the period, if you have specified, is D series for current. Now, you look at example 5. Now, with this kind of authorization, structure profile definition, the user is authorized to access organization units in plan version 01 from a root object along the staffing assignments along this evaluation path. So in this case, the root object is determined, the root object ID is determined using dynamically at runtime by using this function module. So when you use a function module, you need not or should not enter a value for object ID field. So when the user in this case is granted access to the organization unit he or she manages, and to all the lower level objects along SBEX evaluation path. So if you want to dynamically determine the starting object of a manager, then a function module should be used, and this function module is delivered by SAP by default. Now, when you look at the profile, structure profile definition, at the end of the definition, you have an icon for I. Now, when you click on this icon, the system calls the report RHAUTH01. So this program gives you the number of objects contained in the structure authorization, and it lists those objects. So depending on the evaluation path and how we are defining, whether using a function module or the specific object ID here, when you click on the icon, the system will, depending on what the evaluation paths are, how the evaluation path has been defined, the system will return or display the objects contained in that structure authorization. And this icon I is linked with that report RHAUTH01. In the last step in a structure authorization definition, structural profile definition, is to assign the structural profile to a user. Now you can directly assign the structural profile to a user, or you can assign the structural profile to the position of the user. Now depending on how you do it, you'll be using two different methods which we will show in the demo. Now structural profiles are assigned in different ways to general authorization profile. Now you can use the table T77UA to do the assignment of the structure profile to the user. Now you have to understand here, the structure profile is not the same as your role. The role can be assigned using PFCG or SU01, but you cannot assign a structural profile using SU01 or PFCG. To assign a structural profile, you use the table T77UA, or you can execute the transaction OOSB to do it. So first the system searches at runtime. So when the structural profiles are activated, the system searches at runtime for the entries in the table T77UA for the current user. If one or more entries exist, the set of objects is mapped according to the profile definition. So depending on how many structural profiles are assigned to the user, the objects are mapped. Now the set of objects is then checked against the concrete object and the action display or edit. Now the authorization is granted only if the object is checked. Object to be checked exists with necessary processing indicators in the set of objects. Now, instead of using OOSB or T77UA, you could also use the position of the user to assign the structural profile. So you can assign the structural profile to the position using the transaction PO13, which is for maintaining position, and in that you have info type 1017 1017, which you could use to assign the structural profile to the position. But here you have an additional step. After using the info type 1017, you have to execute the program RHPROFL0 to make an entry in the table T77UA. So the assignment of structure profiles to the users can be done using the transaction OOSB or making use of the combination PO13 transaction wherein you maintain the info type 1017 and then executing the program RHPROFL0. So when you execute that program, the system makes an entry in the table T77UA. So this was an introduction to definition of what structural profiles are and an explanation of fields involved in a structure profile.